Okay, we're gonna try the video. Having some troubles, had to download some stuff. It's May the 23rd, 2025. Kind of out of my category a little bit here, but my stepson is actually in San Diego upgrading the electrical grid system there. We're from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Okay, he was working for a contractor there upgrading the electrical grid system in the San Diego area. And I was watching that yesterday morning. He didn't even know about it yet. I texted him wondering, because I saw a water tower in the background. I thought, well, there's a water tower in that area. They live there. Like, what's happening? So he had texted me back, they're okay. He didn't even know about the plane crash yet. Later tonight, he texted me and said the plane took out their power line. Probably a transmission line. I made a joke. I didn't know you owned a power line. Okay, just kind of a little Canadian joke, but this is serious stuff, actually. Anyway, he made comments on here. This YouTuber.
It says 3,600 at Nesty, so now he's been cleared to Nesty, and I think he told him 3,800 or above, so he's giving him like a 200-foot kind of buffer above Nesty. That's normal. The next point we need to look for is, I circled it in red, it's Palos intersection. The ADS data now of his elevation or his flight path now shows that he was just a little bit below that 1380 that's circled there, and it's got a hard line under it, so you can't go below 1380. I think the ADS data says he was somewhere around 1,200 feet, so he's almost 200 feet below where he needs to be when he gets to Palos. What's going to happen next is there's a ridge, a bump. There's a ridge, like a hill, between Palos and the runway, and on top of that hill are some high tension wires that are even another 50 to 100 feet.
Did you catch that?
What that looks like.
And he's saying they may have hit it. My stepson said they took out the power lines. So, okay, this is kind of information that isn't available on the YouTube. My stepson happens to live there. I happen to get the information, so I'm adding it into this San Diego flight YouTuber, and I deal with lately with other issues, more to do. And here's something I'll read is Psalms 90. A lot of people don't want to look at this maybe, but it says, we fly away in Psalms. That's not talking about airplanes, by the way. Okay? This is the times we live in. Stepson made a comment that wondering why all these pilots, all these plane crashes. Well, I know personally, north of Calgary, Alberta here, there's a municipal airport. One commercial pilot has his own double-engine little plane, front and rear engine. I guess it's safer than side-by-side, two-engine little plane. Okay. Very fast little plane. He made a comment he didn't even trust a co-pilot. He says it's on autopilot. Don't touch a thing. He was going to the washroom. Don't touch a thing. He didn't even trust the co-pilot. I know in the trucking industry, which I'm involved with, drivers are taking medication to get past their medical exam, and sky-high blood pressure because his legs were swelling up. He chucked the medication. Yes. People are doing things to pass the medicals, okay? And then they're really in no condition sometimes to even be flying or driving. On top of that, I was studying the Washington, D.C. crash. How come there's no cameras? They had warning. I've got cameras on trucks, we have camera on vehicles. Is the FAA approvals that strict that they can't seem to even approve? Or why would the manufacturer from Quebec, Canada, I believe it was, or the airline themselves, aftermarket, put some cameras on the bottom side of the plane so they can see where the traffic was? We got this idea that the government's going to solve all our problems. It's not. The FAA approvals, the company from Salt Lake City had being built in China now because they couldn't get What? And a gyrocopter is actually safer, the way I understand it. I had a friend worked with it up in Canada here. Yeah, somebody goofing around hits a power line too or something. People get killed on motorbikes. You don't shut the whole business down. Okay? Yeah. It has free self-rotation. What's happening some of these accidents? Yeah, maintenance is a problem. But I know in the trucking industry, you can have a good mirror. The bird hits the mirror. Now here's your ticket. Doesn't matter if the mirror is frozen over. It didn't have a functional heating element to thaw it off because it wasn't on in truck in 1960s. The government is not going to solve all our problems. I know right in Canada here, they had a change, but the same receptionist, which I've had trouble with, is at the office. You can change the top people. It doesn't mean you change everybody. We got problems happening around the world. We got all this technology, but man is not going to solve our problems. And what do? We think two rocks came from nowhere. That's Norway, is my ex-wife. Nowhere. And we're all here. Well, I told one fellow, that's what you want to believe, go right ahead and believe it. You believe whatever the government tells you. Now he talks to me. I wonder why. He was just playing head games with other guys. Okay? Sheer head games. Okay? I talked to some people from Gaza lately. Okay? They were kind of shocked when I said Amos 1, chapter 1, Zephaniah chapter 2 mentions Gaza. Hey, that was written how many years ago? Before Israel was even there as a nation. Come on. One guy, Zechariah chapter 5. The pastor doesn't want to study because it wasn't taught to him in seminary. Yeah. The circumference, a talent is a big number of lead fired from Shinner, Iran. Okay? I thought this is kind of interesting how it all plays into this commercial flying, and my stepson's right there.
Outside of San Diego, California, a Cessna 550 crashed onto Sample Street 2 miles short of its intended runway. Let's take a look at what happened.
Okay, there'll be more investigation and stuff, but like the Washington, D.C., the pilot, everybody on the plane is dead, and they blame the pilot. Well, they're supposed to trust the tower, but apparently there was a plane or something that did pull up to circle around, and he got reprimanded for not trusting the tower. Won't trust the tower. You got a warning. Traffic. Well, now everybody's dead. Blame the pilot. I talked to a sea captain. He got ecstatic with the management and stuff. He's no longer, he's probably looking for cruise boat work or something out in BC, Canada here now. He happened to be in Calgary, Alberta. Not very many big sea ships here. They bring them up the Columbia River into San Diego, big shipping things. Most Canadians know nothing about that. But where was the tugboats on the ship that hit the Pittsburgh Bridge? I think I've been over that bridge. Okay? And we're not being told. What? Railways and everything. We're not being told the truth. Right here at City Hall in Calgary, Alberta. I didn't even recognize the one guy's picture. He's in the paper all the time. Okay? No. It's all edited out. We're not being told about volcanoes going in off in Mexico. The truck driver confirmed it. His flight was canceled from Calgary, Alberta to Mexico. Okay? He lives there. He doesn't pay any rent or anything here. He lives in the back of the truck. Why should he pay expensive things in Canada? But he didn't even know it himself. The Mexican volcano is flooding in Caribbean and Cuba the last couple years, even before the hurricane came in. Well, northern Canada was dry. Yeah. And they did find magnifying glasses, I believe. And the wild mushrooms grow a year or two after. Follow the money. When the East Coast was flooding from the Mexican volcano, that's when Hawaii was dry. You can go around the world. Tonga Tonga, I talked about that, is in Australia. Hey, we heard it was flooding in Australia on the coastal areas. Okay? Volcano went off over in here. Australia, I've been over there, is a more of a hot, dry country. They had record crop yields. We're not told about this. Supposed to have a shortage of grain from the Ukraine war. Okay? How come the price of grain is down? Okay? They spin the story the way they want. So what's going to come out of this airline crash investigation? Okay? The weather thing wasn't working. He mentions it right here. The altimeter or something wasn't working. It's just an ongoing problem with us, all this high-tech stuff. We think it's going to solve our problems. One lady from Nigeria, she's an oil engineer. We got oil and gas here. Most Canadians wonder where all the people's coming from. One country in Africa has 5 times as many people as all of Canada. But she got laid off because I believe the main issue was AI. The new divisions are being started up, all contract labor, all 100% AI. I was told that by an oil executive. Okay? Now she's working with robotic stuff. Hey, we've had autopilots for years. We still have crashes. Okay. Doesn't solve all the problems. But it assists the pilot. I believe this is going to come in the trucking industry. Instead of having 2 drivers in a truck, it's an absolute nightmare. Have somebody snoring in the bunk. Okay, I told my wife, no, I'd rather have a robot. I tell her guys, sometimes all my wife, even in the city here, you pull up to the traffic light, you got a red light, rest your eyeballs for a couple minutes. Tell me when it turns green. That's all the robot has to do. You know? You're overtired, pull over for 5 minutes. Well, that takes time. You're under pressure. Go, 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 go. Hey, hopefully you don't, So put it on autopilot. Set a timer. Wakes you up in 5 minutes. A nice open interstate highway in the U.S. What could possibly go wrong, right? Yeah, I've seen that. It's just, things can change that fast. But no, we are on a schedule, I believe, with history, big time. It talks about the beast, the image. But most of them are pushing it all into the future yet. No, I don't believe that. I saw a hologram in 2019 in Israel. Okay, there was no wall to touch, but the pastors, they don't want to discuss it. Why? Hey, we're going for another holiday. There's my wife over there. Howdy. Say hi. See, I don't have just a nice curtain behind with no names around or nothing else. Well, I kind of wonder what's this all about. You know why I wonder that? One guy is betraying that he has a congregation. Really? He just uses it in the afternoon and then send a donation where? To a U.S. address. Isn't that nice? Here's an airline to Guyana from North Carolina or something. Where'd the money come for the rental houses? They're not a poor family from Guyana, I don't believe. Okay, we got illegal money coming to Canada big time. BC on the coast, there's fentanyl problems, yeah. Are they getting U.S. military going to say, shut her down, Canada, or we'll do it for you? That's what they did in Mexico. The Mexican government steps in. I guess you're at war with the U.S. now. Good luck. I believe we'll have fighter planes from Idaho and Montana over to Alaska as a parade. Hey, one native fellow, he's not happy about his chief siding with mainstream media. We used to make jokes about CBC, Communist Broadcasting. I made jokes about that when I was a kid. Israel, by the way, is now 77 years old. Just come to that realization last fall. People were kind of saying, I'm 70 years old now. Yeah, 70. So, right there in Psalms 90. Some of my friends are over 80, healthier than some of the truck drivers. He celebrates when he gets his driver's license again. I pass mine in the morning. I don't know about pass it in the afternoon with my eye problems. I'm doing some fasting and everything else now. Hopefully that helps my blood sugar and blood pressure to get down. Okay, there's all kinds of problems. But where are we at in history? Dude, this is just one of many. Like my stepson asked, how come all the plane problems? Well, people are getting stressed out. Where's the computer off? Okay. People are getting stressed out. Lack of maintenance sometimes, maybe. Hey, I'm going to ask something. Here's a thought. Boric Air from Canada. I happened to see the daughter at the oil show. No equipment out last side. It's all being decided by AI management and stuff. And so I didn't even bother going inside. But the one time I saw the daughter, Boric Air, he originally came from a farm in Saskatchewan, in northern BC and stuff up there. Airline. So how come they called that Canadian plane into Antarctica in the middle of the winter to take Americans off there? I asked her, was everything on that aircraft totally FAA approved? She just smiled. Body language said it all. Okay, that's why they called. He built an entire airline based on, I don't really care what you want to say. I'm going to put the equipment for cold weather on the plane. Yeah, they think they're solved because they got a diploma. This is an urban planning in Calgary even. Don't know a thing. I asked what big trucks do. Didn't know. Well, what did the teacher teach you? He said big trucks were a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Yeah, we got a lot of problems. Okay. Traffic light on top of a hill. And then you wonder why it backs all the way up onto the main arteries. Well, the truck turns the corner and gets stuck. Oh, why? Because the traffic has stopped at the red light. Oh, isn't that convenient? Hey, I'm working to put sand under our tires at the flip of the switch. There's one years ago, there's one in Europe, but it's at the back end. I want to put it at the front end for both steering, braking, and if you're going ahead, yeah, you'll have under the back end eventually. I play around with stuff, okay? I can get into all kinds of stuff. Here we go. It's like another plane crash. On and on. And yeah, well, you got more planes. The helicopters, that's like a freeway for helicopters in Washington, D.C. I was looking at what happened in New York. Well, or not. As train crashes. Why not have a drone ahead of the train? Give the conductor something to do. There's things we can do. Have enough distance to even stop the train in time. Yeah. CPKC from here to Mexico, they're testing out underground hydrogen for 1/10 the cost of solar hydrogen. Anybody heard about that? How come? No. They want to make it robotic too. No conductor on the train, maybe? No, give the conductor something to do. Multi-million-dollar machines, and they want to save what? The labor of one person? Unreal. How much is a knuckle to replace them? You try carrying that down the side of the track. Yeah, the big drones can carry over 100 kilograms from China for agricultural use. It's over 200 pounds. Do the math. I can pluck a couple kids out of the reservoir here in minutes. The Calgary Fire Department said it's going to take 40 or 50 minutes if the boat's not busy on the interior, on the Bow River here. What? So what does a city do? We put up a gate and close the road and put a couple signs on so their liability is covered. The kids are going through the bushes anyway. They're on the ice and the water. Okay? Hey, what? They got the train system? Put a yellow line down. Hey, I don't know about others, but Minneapolis Airport, Hong Kong, where I met my wife, you can't even go from the platform to the track until the train is there. Not in Calgary, Alberta. They don't even chain it off between the rail cars like in New York. No washrooms available. Only in Canada. Only in Canada. Canada's so great and wonderful. Hey, things are changing big time. And they hung Louis Rail from Montana and Regina, Saskatchewan, 1880. But what's the mainstream media trying to pray a tray? It was 1812 in Quebec. No, it wasn't. Okay? They had native skirmishes up north of different places over food supply too. And the food supply, I find out, is getting more and more controlled. Corporations are guaranteeing to take their entire production. Why? Why would they do that? They will fly the food from Western Canada, I believe. My mother lived through it in the Ukraine. Yeah. Stalin took my grandfather and uncle captive. You can be Russian, but you don't want to live under Putin, Moscow control because the food went back to Moscow. The mainstream media. And people here, one guy, oil gas, he thinks Russia would just march across there. I said, they had nothing to fight for. What are you going to fight? Stalin had already taken the guns. Okay? What's gun control all about? Yeah, flea market in the USA. Ask the experts. They know that gun control does work. Stalin, Hitler, Castro, Mussolini, they all brought in gun control. They pitchfork against the tank. And I told them the drones are going to play a big part of this war. The farmers already had them. Canada finally made them legal. Beyond sight drones. Really? Why? Thanking the native fellows up north, I think the ice roads weren't real good. Want to take the medical across the lake? Well, it could go through the ice with the snowmobile. So go ahead, Mr. Federal Police RCMP. Half my friends are in jail anyway. I already got a criminal record. What do I care? Free room and board. So we fly it across. Uh-oh, we got a problem. My uncle taught me as a mayor of town. How do you change the bylaw? Force them. They'll threaten you to take you to court. No, they change the bylaw. It's all smoke and mirrors. Okay? We got to trust the one. Who is the one that gives us the air we breathe? I mean, did these two pilots think they're going to... Game's over. No. Daniel chapter talks about it. Everybody's going to be resurrected. But that's after another 1,000 years. And everybody will be answerable. Yeah. Mr. Super Rich. You want to be cryogenically frozen? Hey, you want to trust man to solve the problem? Hey, I believe you're going to be resurrected anyway. And what? What happened at Pentecost? That's 144,000. That's every 1,000 years. And the guy is teaching what is ever in the future. And it's... No. You don't want to believe this book? What do you want to believe? You want to believe this YouTube? You want to believe what the government actually tells us? Do you want to believe mainstream media? I can get into debates. I prefer the King James. I can show you verses why. But other people got, but they got a lot of American stuff. It's all in the future yet. Hey, tell that to somebody that's dying for what they believe in another country now. Where are we at in history? Okay. Jacob was 77 years old when he married Leah. Left 7 years later with Rachel, Joseph, and all the sons. Enough problem with one wife at a time. He had two. I came across something down in Bolivia. There's a family named Gustafson, real big farm. Near my ex-brother-in-law is down there. He talks to me. Okay. Is Gustafson. Swedish Scandinavian name. The guy was like a king in Bolivia. He came over. He had multiple wives like Solomon. Why? 70 or 80% of the men were killed. What are they going to do? The population of the country is about to crash. Where's the lady who's going to look after her? The guy had money. Hey, you want to live on the street with nothing or join the harem? Is that why Solomon had so many wives? Here's a question. How many times did Solomon get baptized? How many wives did he have? Every time. There was 1,400 adults rebaptized in Oklahoma. I hope it's coming to Canada. What are we taught? Oh, once is enough. Really? You charge up a battery just once? You can have a dead battery. Okay? You can't. Well, what are we taught? Hey, we float off to Never Never Land. Well, then what do we have to be resurrected for? It doesn't fit, Mr. Pastor. He says, just believe, you'll never die. I said, well, Lazarus believed he walked with Jesus, but he died. But he got resurrected. I think that's what he's talking about. But then he turns around and says, of course Lazarus died again. No, you will not find that. How come he left from Bethany? How come they couldn't find him at the garden? Because he was youthful virgin again. Revelation 14. Yeah, this is getting into some of the theology, but this is all intertwined with everything.
Really had any idea of the weather? I got the Gillespie weather.
Yeah, the weather was really bad. I know. That's a big factor. Okay. Might have had an altimeter at the wrong altitude. Well, maybe it was that unit was working. Maybe they could have set it at the right altitude. I don't have all answers. We'll be talking about this for a while. And how many minutes we got here now? Is it still recording? Coming up to 27 and a half minutes. Okay, that's good. It's still working for a change. I tried this. We had to even empty the trash can. Okay. It's pilot incapacitated after takeoff. What's this about? Well, I don't know. See? Was there a medical condition even on the pilot? That might come out. Big bus accident up in Saskatchewan killed a bunch of hockey players one time. Oh, it's the immigrant truck driver. He ran the stop sign. How fast was he really running the stop sign? Come on, let's be honest. How many of us actually come to 100% stop at a stop sign all the time? I mean, we make jokes about it. Spin tires on pavement. Truck drivers, you see a gap, the other traffic's coming, you look to the left, and you go for it. Guess what? The Saskatchewan government, 2 bad accidents, they didn't take the trees out at the farm. All they had to do, turn quarter mile down, the guy would have been in the ditch. And no, they did nothing. Train crashed in Quebec. There was no conductor on the train to help set the brakes. But the major problem? Federal transportation policy in Canada. I've talked to an MP from Quebec about this at a big fancy Chinese dinner. Okay? My son told me, you don't have to put wheel trucks down on a loaded freight truck with dangerous goods left unattended at the top of a hill. What? I park an empty truck on level ground just to go use the washroom, already unloaded. I got reprimanded big time. But they can park a loaded train with no wheel chokes. Hey, where's some of our what's the policies here? Oh, they do no wrong? Really? Wakey, wakey. Not wokey. It's wake up time. Okay, we're over 30 minutes. I'm going to shut her down. coming up to 30 minutes. Okay. My wife, it's after almost coming up to midnight here in Calgary, Alberta. We're on mountain time. I guess about an hour difference, but it's on the west coast there. How come the hurricane hit the west coast when the lava was flowing off of Hawaii? Yes, don't you think it was killing the fish? Yeah, probably. But you have to have 40 degrees Celsius temperature. I think that's, 100 and some degree Fahrenheit, Mr. American? I can't remember for sure. Anyway, most of them hit the East Coast. Why? The volcano's off the coast of Africa, in the water. We're not being told. We're not being taught. Okay? We're being manipulated. We're going to have super rich and super poor. And the rich flying around on a jet, they pay the price too. Okay? Have a good night.